Leadership is fundamentally a moral endeavor, friends. I want you to hear that and process that for a moment. Leadership is fundamentally a moral endeavor. We tend to think about leadership in the terms of vision and strategy and execution and management and all of those kinds of words. And all of that is true. And yet, at its core, leadership is fundamentally a moral endeavor. True leadership is not just about guiding people towards a goal, it's about shaping ethical cultures, making value based decisions, and fostering trust. It requires leaders to integrate. And part of integration is this other word that we use around morality: integrity. Integrity. What does it mean for a leader to have integrity? What does it mean for an organization to be integrated? What does it mean for us to foster trust? What does it mean for us to cultivate moral people, moral products, moral services? In a book called Leading Through by Kim Clark, Jonathan Clark, and Aaron Clark, they explore the idea of like a human-based leadership. And what does it mean for us to see real life people in the work that we do? And fundamentally, to what they explore in that book, Leading Through, is the idea that leadership is a moral endeavor. For those of you who are familiar with Stephen Covey, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, all those things, none of this would be new for you. You business literature and organizational literature is filled with the idea of the leader as a moral agent and needing to be moral. But sometimes I think in our society, we learn that and then we push it aside. When we see power, when we see expertise, when we see giftings, when we see talents, we are tempted to latch onto those things over character, over trust, over integrity. And every time we do that, it bankrupts us in the end. We must have as our bedrock moral fiber, character, integrity, trust, and what goes along with that, reputation, friends. And so moral leadership begins with a commitment to integrity and to a commitment to being integrated. Stephen Covey explores a lot of this in his book, The Speed of Trust. And fundamental to that title and to the idea of that book is that the more trust that a leader and an organization and a culture engenders and cultivates, the faster, the more efficient that an organization can be. And that is true for businesses, it's true for government, it's true for schools, it's true for churches, right? It's true for any community, any connectional group has to have moral leadership in order for it to have a lasting impact on people's lives in a good way. And so, my friends, my hope is that as we jump into this series on leadership, that you will begin to think about, what does moral leadership look like? Where do we need moral leadership today? We certainly need it in our government, that our governmental leaders tend to be so power hungry and so self-focused that they don't lead with moral and ethics at their center and at their core. They're not engendering trust. They're not integrated. And they certainly often don't have integrity. And so my hope is that as you're beginning to explore the basic ideas of leadership, that it helps you to look around the world, whether it's government or your local community or the schools or your business or a business you interact with or the church and pastors, and go, you know what we need? We need moral leadership, because it is at the heart and bedrock and foundation of what any organization and what individuals need. I look forward to exploring this more in the weeks to come. As we go to that, I do want to give you a couple of questions to reflect on. And if you're daring and courageous enough, I would love for you to reach out to me with some thoughts that you might have regarding these questions. How do your values influence your decisions? In what ways do I expect integrity from leaders on a daily basis? Two different questions there, right? How do your values influence your leadership decisions? So that's a personal one. And then where and who are you seeing integrity demonstrated by on a daily basis from leaders that you know? Would love for your feedback on those things. Friends, thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next time.